get better at is learning how to not suffer as much. We can be in pain from loss, but we don't have to suffer as much. We can. Still working. Just wanted to say hi. Today is February 19th. Been doing okay-ish. John went away for a whole week. I had like a weird week. Did I do any work here? I don't even know. I think the video I uploaded was during that week. I was alone, but it was really a rough week emotionally being alone. He went to Germany, so anyways, the dogs are barking. It's dinner time, so I'm gonna go downstairs and tend to the life. And see, I'm working. And remember I talked about a new bookcase? I just put it together, so I now have 2 bookcases, and it's a mess. I gotta organize, but I'm trying to organize my library, and I've been reading a lot since Daniel died, so most of it is really good self-care, self-help stuff. So I'm gonna go downstairs. Henry needs his dinner. He needs his dinner. I'll be back. Back in February, I got to finally pick up my new car. We decided to get a jump on all the possible increases in costs and replace my old car with a new Subaru Forester. And here she is. I'm very happy with it. I feel very grateful. Hello, everybody. Today is February 20th. It's Thursday. And just sitting here working and trying to think of like a topic to roll into. It's kind of hard because my life is like, it's just changes one minute to the next. So I kind of just try to be intuitive and see what comes to me. It's so loud. I have a heater on. It's really cold here. It's really, really, really cold. So I have this little book. It's called Healing After Loss by Martha Hickman. This is another book that my niece sent me when I was in the early stages of grieving last year. And it's basically a little daily devotional. And it's not a religious devotional. It's just information and like suggestions and just tools and just little tidbits of how to apply some concepts to your journey with dealing with your pain. And on February 20th, I actually read it. I said, well, let me start here. Maybe I'll look and see what February 20th says, and I'll use that for a topic on my video and my podcast. I didn't record any podcasts yet. I'm still a little stuck there, but I think I'll get to it soon. I'm breaking through some boundaries with that. So, so I'm just going to read it to you. But if you know anyone who's hurting and needs something that's not too heavy, something to look at every day or whenever you want to, I definitely love this little book. It's well loved. I'm on my 2nd year of going through it. So February 20th said, and it starts with a quote. It says, "To fashion an inner story of our pain carries us into the heart of it, which is where rebirth inevitably occurs." By Sue Monk Kidd. I don't know who that is, but I like her quote. And then it says, so how to do this and why? Some people keep a journal, a useful tool in any event, but maybe especially now when our lives are apt to be in an emotional turmoil, to write down whatever is preoccupying us, snatches of memory, accounts of daily grief and confusion, not only helps us identify and sort out what is happening, but puts all of that in a safe, pre-recorded place where we can get back to it if we want to. To write it down relieves us of the need to carry it around in our head all of the time. Some write down stories from the life of the loved one. A dear friend spent several months following his wife's death, writing down the story of their courtship. more than 65 years ago. It was not only a beautiful story and a prospective treasure for close family members, but as he said, it helped me keep I'm not really good at this. It helped me keep in touch with her. And that was the end of the entry for today. And then on the bottom, it just gives you a tool, right? It says, the fashioning of the inner story will help make order of the chaos into which grief often plunges us, and may even reward us with treasures. So that really resonated with me, because I've been writing, journaling. I started fashioning the inner story of Daniel's life from way back when, right? I fashioned it via the YouTube channel. I fashioned it in poetry. I fashioned it in stories about him. I fashioned it in all of the different things that I kept along the way, you know, keeping track of the different things that were going on, the good things, the bad things. And I made just a few notes. So it's kind of, I don't want to sound like, you know, oh, this is a good tool for you to do for your mental health. It is definitely very, very helpful in grief to express yourself, because these things are just trapped in there, and they're so heavy to carry. I try to write something every day, and sometimes my writing is like as simple as a post on Facebook, or I have a notes app in my phone. We all do, if you have an iPhone, the notes thing. And sometimes I just write in there. And then one big project I'm doing right now is trying to pull them all together, because I write all over the place. From doodling on my desk calendar, to writing in notebooks, to writing in journals. Anyways, I've been fashioning Daniel's story for a long time. Writing, sharing, speaking, recording. It helps me so much. And before his death, fashioning his story was about dealing with the grief that special needs parents deal with from the beginning. When you're pregnant and you're having a baby, and then you have a baby, and then suddenly you find out this little one is going to spend the rest of their life very, very limited in what they'll be able to do. Their health will be compromised, and it'll be a really difficult life for them and for you. And so there's a grieving that happens when your child will not be able to have a normal life. So you grieve for them, you grieve for you, your family, everything. Like it's something that you're dealing with from the beginning. So writing and speaking and sharing Daniel's story and my story helped me to cope with my son's disability. And then I realized that there are other people who might not, you know, be so inclined, but they were encouraged. You know, some people are interested in reading stories and listening to things because they can connect with that person, and that's powerful too. So it was already fashioned, being fashioned. It still is. It was every step of the way, right? This is why I know you guys. This is why I came on. I mean, a lot of people are like, how could you put your whole information out there for the world? And I'm like, I don't know how. I just started doing it. I think it filled a need for me, because I was really limited into my autonomy and what I could do, because I was here taking care of him. So it made me feel like I had a connection to something bigger that I had lost when I gave up my career and all that. And it made me feel, I don't know, creative and interesting a little bit. So then all of a sudden you're telling this story, this journey, you're talking about all these challenges and good things and bad things, and life is going on because it goes on. And then he dies, and the world stops. And it's almost like you're hitting a refresh button and all the history is like changed in a sense. Not the history, but the story changes. The story takes on a different characterization because now the story is the before and now we're in the after. And it's a whole new story of how to deal with grief in a different way, a much worse grief. So it helps to put some words on paper that are kind of haunting your brain, like, or if you're really, really anxious, sometimes just free flow writing or just doodling, scribbling, whatever you can do intuitively to connect with that pain. It's really helpful, and it's pretty interesting to go back and read the things that I wrote even just a year ago. I've been very confused, lost. Things felt so dark. I didn't know how I would get up every day. I didn't know who I was. I was so sad. I missed him so much. I miss him so much. I mean, obviously. But try it. This is just a try it. If you have a lot of pain, I mean, I think any therapist would say, you know, journaling is one of those tools for helping to reduce stress and anxiety. But when it comes to grief, just get a piece of paper or a notebook, a journal, your computer, whatever, and just kind of like sit there and think, okay, I'm gonna try this, and just see whatever comes to you. Try to like quiet your thoughts, and then whatever comes to you. Like for me, sometimes it's like I just sort of write as if I'm talking to him. I tell him about the weather. Hey Daniel, it's snowing today. He always liked to watch the snow. It's really cold, and you know what? And I tell him the dogs can't go to the bathroom because the ice is so thick and their little legs are going all over the place, and so it's a big deal. And you know, and then sometimes I just write about things that are happening, and sometimes it's about how I feel, and sometimes it's a poem, and sometimes it's just like, I don't know, other things, but it's fun. Because one of the interesting things I think is when you do look back. I mean, I have a drawer over here. I'll show you. I'll show you my drawer, and in there are journals. It's not all of them. There's more. There's more. I have more in there and there, and I didn't always journal every minute of my life. Sometimes I would journal, and then I would, for whatever reason, not for a long time. I pick up a journal. I'm like, I didn't write for over a year. Okay, it's all right. But it's fascinating to look back, and it's almost like I'm talking to younger Julie, and it gives you a little bit of perspective. And there's been a lot of things in my life that were really hard, that I didn't understand, that I didn't have the right help or the right guidance, and I didn't know how to deal with it, and you know, regretfully, it was really difficult. So looking back, I'm like, wow, I was dealing with this thing, whatever the thing is, and it was really hard for me. And like, why did I do that? Like, I don't know. Find little ways to heal. And what I've been learning in my grief journey is that you never heal the grief. It is intricately part of you forever, right? So you will have that pain. But the one thing that you can little by little get better at is learning how to not suffer as much. We can be in pain from loss, but we don't have to suffer as much. We can find ways to comfort ourselves, to soothe ourselves, to self-care and self-love, and find ways to be grateful and be mindfully present of what we do have, right? Our beautiful families, our lives, and that kind of thing. So in the beginning it's hard because you don't know how to get out of it, and so it just has to be what it is, and sometimes you just have to let it drive you. And you know, I knew it didn't make sense for me to just sit in the chair and eat junk food and suffer and make myself unhealthy. So I decided that to honor my son, I would honor myself instead of torture myself, if that makes sense. I don't know. Still really hard. I'm still really hard. I have a lot of trauma that I'm processing and working through.